If I'm going to stand there 18 hours in dress of an iconic Disney princess, I deserve to be paid for every hour that it is streamed online.
Disney fans are offended by Rachel Zegler's comments.
Cry me a river. She's just exactly everything that we can't stand.
She has been sabotaging this film for years at this point.
It is performative bull by Disney.
She's also just a spoiled, entitled, narcissistic brat.
But why do you have to mess with a classic, especially with someone who doesn't even seem to like her own character?
Am I a psychopath?
The modern empowered Snow White won't even allow domestic labor.
We can't have a woman holding a broom. Not that Rachel Zegler would know what to do with a broom other than fly on it.
Woke is a poison apple, and Disney have had a big bite of
Rachel Zegler, she's an
Leaning into woke. Hardcore.
They're petrified of some kind of backlash.
The moment Prince Charming moves in for the kiss while she's asleep, he gets arrested.
Yeah, exactly. Immediately.
Right?
The movie is a complete disaster, by the way.
Yeah, it'll be a bomb, I can guarantee.
You know things are horrible when Disney cancels a princess. And not just any princess, Rapunzel. Yep, Disney finally pulled the brakes on its live-action Tangled remake, and the reason, let's just say it involves a $270 million catastrophe. A whole lot of pushback and one actress who essentially told fans she didn't even love the movie she was in.
Rachel Zegler, who stars as Snow White, condemned Prince Charming as weird and a stalker, adding that she hates the original. Nice start.
Disney had big ideas. A Tangled live-action adaptation was already in the works. The Greatest Showman's Michael Gracie was planned to direct, while Thor, Love and Thunder's Jennifer Kate Robinson was authoring the script. So yes, they weren't going little. Pre-production has even started. Casting meetings, innovative suggestions, the entire. Apparently, various rumors indicate that Cynthia Erivo was slated to play the renowned Princess Rapunzel. So soon word came out, folks online started going wild. Disney put everything back as they observed the backlash online.
Cynthia Erivo, she might be paying the biggest price for this Snow White debacle. She's now unemployed because you know they were going to hire her for this. This is Rapunzel.
I suppose it's not really a surprise that Disney was going to go with a different casting than who the character was given. They had done it with Ariel from The Little Mermaid and Snow White as Latina. So Disney canceled its Awake remake abruptly, or maybe they are going to not go awake with this one and genuinely follow the classic.
This chick was already hired to be the blonde girl whose hair was used to get rescued.
Enter Snow White or Snow Woke. With a budget exceeding $270 million. They were expecting another billion-dollar hit. What they received instead was a faceplant $69 million domestic, $145 million international. Let it sink in.
I felt that it was time, whether you call it diversity or inclusion, the bottom line is that doing so is good for...
Might not even hit 100 million. It didn't simply flop, it exploded on impact. It took the largest nosedive in Disney history. So, what do you suppose a woke Tangled would have done? But this wasn't only about lousy writing or shoddy VFX. Snow White had troubles long before it entered cinemas. The original tale, utterly modified, the seven dwarfs turned into something that left admirers scratching their minds.
It was $270 million by the end of 2023. Doesn't count reshoots, doesn't count a lot of post-production work. So yeah, the budget's well over $300 million. We know that, which is why Disney's likely to lose over $300 million.
And then came the interviews. Rachel Zegler, Disney's new Snow White, went viral for all the wrong reasons. She called the original 1937 picture weird and terrifying, blasted the love narrative, and boldly declared this would be a fresh remake where Snow White doesn't require...
Photos from a set revealed that the seven dwarves had been sensationally axed, replaced by multiracial, gender non-specific, magical humans, after Peter Dinklage said it was backwards to cast real dwarves as dwarves, even though he's made a whole career out of being a real dwarf who's played dwarves in movies.
Talk about absurd. Is it so wrong to desire to discover genuine love? Can't you be a strong woman and also have a strong guy in the film? I suppose not, according...
Well, audiences have responded in their droves. In fact, the trailer has broken records. More than 1 million people have disliked it on YouTube.
And just when you thought it couldn't get worse, X unearthed Zegler's previous post. She'd thrown shots at Trump voters, made politically heated remarks about the Middle East, and sure, the internet noticed. Which doesn't play well with fans who believe she's selfish and entitled. Instead of promoting the movie, the headlines were about boycotts, outrage, and why is Disney doing this again? At this time, Disney wasn't only losing viewers, it was cultivating adversaries online. Not exactly the sensation you want for a family film.
What made you want to step into this world of DC heroes? I needed a job. I'm being so serious. I mean, a lot of people keep asking me. The reality was we were in the middle of a pandemic and I was not working and I couldn't get a job for the life of me because West Side Story hadn't come out yet, and it was really hard to book work for me.
Here's the thing. Zegler didn't just play the part. She rejected it. Every interview sounded like a sermon. She talked about how Snow White doesn't need rescuing, how the prince is worthless, how her version is all about empowerment. Which is fantastic until your audience begins asking why the picture is even named Snow White anymore.
Rachel Zegler, who'd already been gobbing off left, right, and centre, causing endless problems. She then shared the trailer on social media and added Free Palestine, despite the fact that her co-star, Gal Gadot, is Israeli. So you can imagine what that's done. That's just poured kerosene all over the place.
It's intended to be a family film, people. Instead of respecting a fairy tale, the film grew into a TED lecture about 21st century feminism, and surprise, people didn't want to pay for it. Families want fun, not politics.
You've got the fairest of them all, who's put up against Gal Gadot, and somehow Gal Gadot is jealous of Rachel Zegler. And you've got a story about the search for true love that's no longer about true love.
So, what about Tangled? Well, let's just say the timing isn't a coincidence. Rumors were growing that Disney planned to modify the narrative. You know the drill. Rewrite Rapunzel's personality. Sideline the male lead. Some identity politics for good measure. There were talks about casting another woke celebrity, someone who'd undoubtedly wind up bickering with the internet before the trailer ever appeared. After watching Snow White burn to the ground, Disney didn't merely halt Tangled, they nuked it from orbit. Because say what you will about fairy tales, but one thing's apparent. Turning them into political lectures doesn't exactly scream box office riches. The Marvels, Strange World, Lightyear, the list of unsuccessful, over-politicized Disney ventures simply keeps increasing. It's almost like people don't want to be lectured when they watch cartoons. Weird, right? Disney used to tell stories. Now, too frequently, it feels like they're pushing a message first and creating the tale later. Remember when Disney could do no wrong? Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, The Lion King, they all demolished it. Each brought in about $1 billion. Nostalgia was king, but that was before Disney decided nostalgia needed a contemporary update. Suddenly classics weren't good enough. They required repairing. Problem is, when you restore the portions people genuinely enjoyed, they stopped turning up. There are still live-action projects in the horizon. Lilo and Stitch releases in May. Moana is coming in 2026. And certainly, Dwayne Johnson is back as Maui. But let's be honest, if these fall too, Disney might have to acknowledge what everyone else already sees. Go woke, go broke. Might be more than just a meme. This goes deeper than one terrible movie. Disney's audience doesn't trust them anymore. Not with their childhood loves, not with news items, nor with anything. And until they stop treating every photo as a political statement, the magic might keep slipping away. Tangled isn't only a scrapped remake, it's a warning shot. When storytelling takes a backseat to social messaging, customers notice, and they don't buy tickets out of guilt.